First two dogs, Mark's dog's name, Maya. I went and got it, and he keeps it in the house. You know, at his place. And I'm going, that's just terrible. We had
Ready? Okay, and we'll call the meeting to order. I'm Tom Smith, Chair of this committee, and we're the 2023 Board of Equalization Review for Union County. We have been appointed by the county commissioners to hear any and all taxpayers with respect to concerns, complaints regarding the valuation of their property for tax purposes. The property owners appearing before the Board of Equalization Review have the right to a fair and equitable hearing. The Board of Equalization Review has been charged with ensuring that proper legal principles have been applied in valuation disputes for tax purposes. The format of this hearing is the clerk calls the case and locates the property or explains the situation. The appellant presents their case. The assessor's office offers their defense for comments. Both parties are given opportunity to rebut or conclude. Any questions from either party should be directed to the chairman. The board will rule on the case or table it and inform the taxpayer when it will be reopened. The taxpayer will be notified in writing of the board's decision. By statute, the burden of proof is on the taxpayer to demonstrate that the assessment is erroneous. Silence your cell phone and any questions? With that, we have the first hearing. The hearing.
Okay. Hearing number one, owner EHC Homes LP, Mr. Dave Pawlowski is representing, and we have various parcels. Should I call up all of them? No. Go ahead.
Explain your situation to us.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. So my name is Dave Pawlowski, and I'm representing Empire Homes. And we are here to ask for this board to accept an untimely builder's inventory exemption application. We overlooked, basically due to a clerical issue, we made a mistake. We filed in 22. We should have filed in 23. We did not. We noticed that in March that, wait a minute, these new homes that we just built aren't receiving the exemption. The land is, but the homes aren't. And we contacted the county and realized that we had made a mistake. And we have been filling out or submitting these applications since this law became effective in 2016. And we've typically done so without issue. I think the county would agree that we make timely applications. But there was a good faith mistake this year. And so we're here to ask for you to grant an untimely or to approve our untimely application. The reason there was a good faith mistake, or some of the factors that went into it, was that there was a merger between two companies. Shea Homes has been filing these exemptions for years. I've worked with Shea. They were purchased by Empire Homes. And as part of that acquisition, there's been some changes in personnel and systems and processes. And with these changes in internal systems, we were not able to, or we let some of these parcels fall off the list. Some of these in-process homes fell off the list. And we were also, the other factor too, it's the reality is that there was a law change that took place recently, was effective in '22, I believe, that said you can file once. And that confused some of the staff because they were thinking, okay, we can file once for these homes and we don't have to do it again. But that's not true. The law says if there's any additional improvements, if you build a house, every time you add an addition, you've got to apply each year. So that was, again, a law aimed at simplification that we just did not apply correctly. So that's kind of the mistakes that happened. It was inadvertent. You're sitting there and you're wondering, why should we grant this to this firm, to this company? I've got a couple reasons here to run by you. One is that this is our only avenue. I mean, the board is the only entity that can accept an untimely application, and I do see it happen from time to time. It's typically with the elderly exemption. Boards will typically grant an untimely application just because they are sympathetic to elderly folks who may not follow an application process correctly. But I have seen it in commercial context too, as well, with brownfield exemptions where people just don't file by the end of January on time. They don't know to do it. So the board has the power to do it. And as I've seen, as Travis probably has seen, mistakes are common in tax administration. The county typically has authority to correct its mistakes. The taxpayer really doesn't. They have to come to the board and say, hey, we messed up. Can we have a little leniency? And so that's what we're essentially asking for. This is a complicated, believe it or not, builder's inventory can be complicated to administer. So the other factors too, as you kind of weigh our request, is that Empire is entitled to this exemption. The one thing they missed was the timely filing. We did try to correct that, but again, the county can't, they don't have any, even if they like us and want to do it, they don't have the authority to do it. Only this board has the authority to accept an untimely application. And here's, I think, probably the most important thing that I would like to convey is that there is no harm to the county in granting this untimely application. All of these homes that are involved, there's 2 communities, it's Belle Grove, there's 5 homes in Belle Grove that were in process that fell off the list. There's 10 in Oldenburg that fell off the list essentially. All of these will sell by July 1. And by operation of law, the full tax bill on the full value of those new homes will be collected and paid. So no tax dollars will be lost at all by granting this application. So you may be wondering why is this guy here? What does he want? Well, it does matter to us. It matters between the parties. It doesn't matter to the county, but it does matter between the parties. The buyer and the seller is, from a proration standpoint, who pays the tax. So this is inventory. If the inventory is not exempt, then Empire is potentially on the hook for credits to the buyer for these newly constructed homes that are not exempt. And the lot values for some of these are $100,000 to $200,000. The homes are $800,000 approximately. So between the two parties, between the proration, not having that exemption be granted, does matter just between those two parties. So we made a mistake. And I keep saying I'm sorry because I know that you had to come. Velma had to set up everything. Travis had to prepare. It was an inadvertent mistake. It hasn't happened before. We don't think it's going to happen again, but it was inadvertent, and we're sorry. And all we can do is request that this board does grant our untimely application. So that's it.
Anybody on the board have any questions?
I reckon the one question I have, and I think you did a real good job, presenting the case. You actually let the county know before the county notified you.
Yes, because we're preparing for closings. We're
Right.
working on these prorations, and we're like, wait, why isn't this house exempt? It should be. And then we like, Travis, what's happened? And he's like, Dave, he didn't file. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
So all these houses that you're talking about, they're all going to be sold, you said, by July 1st?
Yes, they are. They're currently scheduled for closing, I think, well before July 1st, but yes.
Okay.
Thank you for your,
Thank you, and again, we're sorry.
we'll let the county tell us what they want to hear, then we will deliberate.
So good morning. So like Dave said, he's pretty much covered it all, a little bit more, I guess. We initially got the request to look at a parcel back on March 16th. We had looked at them, and that's when I told him about the statute reading that if you add in a house, you do have to reapply on the house. You'd keep the land, but you do have to reapply on the new property. So he made an application on the March 20th on, I think that was Oldenburg. And then they realized that there were more houses, more properties, so they applied for the houses in Belgrove on March 27th. So like you said, we can't accept the late application, so that'll be up to y'all. I did do some, I looked up the houses this morning. There are currently 5 houses that are out there that would receive it today. The rest of them have sold, but there will be 5 at a total of about $1.5 million worth of tax value. But outside of that, I think that's all I've got.
Okay. Questions?
I don't have it.
So when you say $1.5 million, what does that mean as tax value? Because he just said to us that there's no problem with the money or anything. you
Right.
know. Are you saying the same thing, or? I don't
We
understand.
can't foresee the future if they're going to sell or not.
I agree with that
And
thought.
so at this point, if we were to accept this late application, we would exempt $1.5 million. And if they sell, we would take them off before July. If they sell before July 1, we would take them off and they would get taxed at full market value. But as it sits right now, there's 5 houses that equate to about $1.5 million that we would exempt that amount of money.
And then you said you were out there at one of the locations and you found a house or whatever, and you looked into it March 16th, whenever it was?
No, he emailed us and asked us. He looked at the county website and he saw that the house was taxable and some of the land was exempt. So he asked, why wasn't the house exempt? And then that all happened on.
That's how you found out about it?
Yes.
Okay.
When's the deadline for filing the application?
January 31st.
I got a question for the county. Has this ever happened before here, for the board?
I'm not sure. I would imagine it probably has, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
That's all it is.
Okay. Any further questions for either party? Thank you. Thank you, Jim. What we're gonna do is we're gonna discuss. You can either wait for us or you can stay. Doesn't make any difference to us.
I can wait outside, but I'd love
No,
to be
you can
able to.
stay right here. This is a live hearing, so
Mm-hmm.
no problem for us. You can stay right where you are.
I want y'all to be candid and
No,
be
no,
happy to leave and come back.
no, you don't have to. You can stay right there. Any comment or discussion on the issue or motion, either one? Somebody makes a motion, we can have a
Well-
discussion, I guess.
I don't have a motion yet. I mean, I kind of want to get the board's opinion on it. I feel like it was just an honest mistake. He got with the county before the county got to him. And I know we can't bank on the property selling, but more chances than not, I tend to agree, they'll sell and it washes out. I mean, unless I'm missing something here, I just feel like it was just an honest mistake. I think he did a good job, with this information and putting it to us.
My only comment I would say is there was a merger of 2 companies,
Yeah.
Shay, so they knew all about it, right? And then that's where you come in with the thought that, well, during that merger and all that, it was just an honest mistake or whatever, so.
And he said so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
I would assume, this is one of these, we get asked a question, but you have one company doing one thing, the other company, and sometimes that transition, who's doing something could have gotten lost, especially for probably the acquired company. But things like that happen.
well, there was confusion too when they started making improvements to the lots. And I get it. I mean, yeah.
Somebody want to make a motion on this matter?
I make a motion that we accept the late application. on the exemption.
Somebody want to second that motion?
I believe that would be the right way to put the motion.
Yeah, that's the right way to do it,
Yeah.
accept the weight application.
Right.
Somebody want a second?
But Mike did.
Okay, Mike seconded. Any further discussion on the matter? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, say aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion passed. We will accept the late application. And with that, do we have anything else on the agenda?
No, we don't.
Hearing none, make a motion, ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
You second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all those opposed? None. Hearing that, we are adjourned.